Hello, and welcome back to Every Problem. This is Stewart Calculus 8th edition, section 1.4, problem number 22. As I had said in the previous problem with 21, these are always, it feels like magic being able to solve these because it's incredible that we can be given a curve, the direction of the curve, and 2 points, and use those 2 points to calculate some function f of x equals c, some constant, times b to the t, or b to the x, I guess. So, yeah, with that said, let's set up two functions here, two equations, I guess, and we see that we have inputs and outputs, right? Input -1, output 3, input +1, output 4/3. So here's what we have, is we have 3 is equal to c times b to the -1. Okay, great. We also have 4/3 is equal to c times b to the +1. Okay, so let's start with this one just to make life a little bit easy. So we have 4/3 equals c times b. Now if we, let's see, if we divide both sides by c, then we get b is equal to 4/3 all over c. Okay, this is also the same thing as saying b equals 4/3 times 1 over c, which equals 4 over 3c. So b equals 4 over 3c. Great. Okay, let's go ahead and substitute that in for our second problem, where we have 3 equals c times b, well, b is equal to 4 over 3c to the -1. So whenever we do that, we're going to flip numerator and denominator if we have something to the -1 power. So 3 equals c times 3c over 4. Okay, great. So 3 equals 3c squared over 4. Multiply both sides by 4, and we get 12 equals 3c squared. Divide by 3, we get 4 equals c squared, and lastly, we will take the square root, and we get c equals 2. Now, if it's plus or minus, that's going to depend on the direction of our graph. The graph is going upwards, so that means our coefficient will be a positive coefficient. So we do have 2 for our c value. Great. Now, let's use this for this function here. 4/3 equals cb to the -1. Oh, not -1, my apologies, to the +1. Okay, well, again, that's just 4/3 equals cb, and c equals 2, so that's nice. Let's see, c equals 2, so 4/3 equals 2b, we divide by 2, and that equals 4 over 3 times 2 equals b. 4 over 6 equals b, and 2/3 equals b. So what we find is we find that c equals 2 and b equals 2/3. So we have f of x equals c times b to the x. So f of x will equal 2 times 2/3 quantity to the x. Now remember, this is definitely not the same as saying 4/3 to the x. You absolutely cannot just multiply over the 2 because you're taking your base to a certain exponent. So you will exponentially change your graph if you do 4/3 x. In fact, it'll actually give it a different shape. Instead of having that shape here, it will have this shape if you multiply that 2 over. So please just make sure that you separate out your constant multiple with your base, and we leave it as 2 times 2 over 3 to the x. That way everything's nice and correct. So that's everything for problem number 22.